Dan Dickau here, Gonzaga Nation SI, with an update on Summer League. It's been a pretty good week so far for some former Gonzaga players in Las Vegas now that the main event for Summer League at the NBA has tipped off. You may have seen the recent announcement of the NBA Cup, where they're trying to bring in some excitement early in the seasons, very similar to what most European domestic pro leagues do over there. But we could chat about that on another episode and another day. Time to connect and review a little bit of what some of the Gonzaga players have done. We'll talk to a little bit about Chet Holmgren in their first stop for Summer League, but I think he's been spectacular in the first two games in Las Vegas. He shows you exactly why he was the draft pick that he was. I mean, he's impacting the game on the defensive end, whether it's on the ball, whether it's in help side, whether it's tracking it down after possibly getting beat on the perimeter. He had a block the other day where he was completely out of the play, and he came back in and came up with the block shot. And then on the offensive end, with the way the game is now, where you want to space it and play, if you can have a big of his size that can step out and shoot it 2-3 feet behind the line, but then handle it and understand spacing and the willingness to create for others is such a huge advantage. I don't think he's ever going to be one of those guys that's going to, have a 40-point night, because that's just not the way I think he's wired to play. But I think he's such a good player. He's going to bring such value to OKC because of all of the things that he does. He's not just a scorer, which is what most people focus on. He's a playmaker. He's a passer. He's a spacer. He's a screener. He's a rim runner when he needs to be. He's a pop guy when he needs to be. And then on the defensive end, he does the things that I had mentioned when we got started on this recording. So I've been impressed, not only that first game, but the second game, where he had a double-double, 16 points, 10 rebounds. The only Thunder in the starting lineup to have a positive plus-minus. He was plus 14, so good effort there. First on the Friday games in Las Vegas, Drew Timme and Julian Strawther's teams, the Bucks and the Nuggets, matched up, and you could tell Strawther's, and rightfully so, because it always is what it is with a first-round draft pick. You're a focal point of what they do. He had big minutes. I thought he played well. He had 15 points, 4-11 from the field, 3 of 9 from 3. So it kind of shows you where he's at as far as his comfortability and his comfort level of what he can do at that level. I don't think he's going to be able to put the ball on the deck too much and create, but his shooting ability and his size, he's going to be valued to shoot it. And it's kind of one of those funny things where there were two other players in that game where maybe you can see a little bit of the progression or hopeful progression that he could have. One is on his team. Peyton Watson played at UCLA for 1 year as a freshman, really didn't play many minutes. But you see the growth that you can have during an NBA season with the development with NBA level coaches. And this is not taking anything away from coaches at the college level, in particular Gonzaga. It's a different focus level, and it's preparing for the NBA game. Peyton Watson, as mentioned, didn't play much a season ago, but had 23 points, looked really good. And then for the Bucks, Marjon Beauchamp, very similar. He played, I think, a bit more than Peyton Watson, but he had 23 points, had a great second half. And it shows you the value of NBA development and getting acclimated to the NBA game and how best to use your skill set. On the flip side, for the Bucks, Drew Timme, I thought he looked good in the minutes that he had. He's going to have to be productive in short minutes in Summer League to make his mark. It's not like he's going to play, the majority of the game and get touch after touch like he did at Gonzaga. So he's got to be aggressive in short stretches and make things happen. But in the first game, 12 minutes off the bench, he had 7 points, 3 of 4 from the field, including a 3. So I thought he played well. Malachi Smith didn't play night one for the Blazers. I'm not too surprised with that. And the reason being is you'll look at a lot of these Summer League rosters, they'll have 15, 16 guys. And many times what they will do is their top, or what they deem as their top 7 that they want a really lengthy look at for Summer League, will play every single game. And so they'll get the majority of those minutes, and then they'll kind of flip-flop the rest of the roster, giving different guys opportunities on certain nights or with certain matchups against teams that maybe makes sense for them. So that's something to keep an eye out for, to see if Malachi Smith does play in the Blazers' second game, which I believe is Sunday. So keep an eye on that. Other players around the WCC: Jordan Ford, former St. Mary's player, really good, 20 points for Sacramento. Pajimski continues to play really well, 9 points, 11 rebounds for Golden State. And Matthew Lewis, 7 points for the Lakers on Friday night. But the Saturday games, again, we already chatted a little bit about Holmgren and his impact. Drew Timme didn't play much, only 7 minutes, 4 points in those minutes. So as mentioned, he's got to find ways, which I'm sure he will, to impact the game right away off the bench, because it's not volume minutes and volume touches where he can kind of really get a read on what the defense is doing for him, such as he did in college. So, and the other thing is he's not going to be a focal point of any offensive attack at this time in his career at this level. So, he's got to be opportunistic, whether it's offensive glass, which is not and never has been really his strength. It could be cuts. It could be opportunistic pick and rolls, and whether it's dives or pops as opposed to sets. So lots of things there that could be possibilities for him to get some action in the games. A couple of the other guys for Gonzaga that to me, excuse me, that really looked really good on the Saturday games. And one, you might not think of the name and think Gonzaga because he was there for 2 years and then he went off to play professionally back in his home country. But Filip Petrusev signed a contract with Philadelphia. He's back playing for Philly in the summer league, and he's playing really well. He looked great the other day. 13 points, 5 rebounds in 21 minutes, 6 of 8 from the field. Now he's always going to give you a great offensive effort. He's always going to give you leave you with the feeling that you want more on the defensive end. And I think that's just his game. Some guys are wired that way. Some guys, our strengths are that way, or the way they see and understand and have IQ for the game are that way. I think Drew Timme falls into that category. I certainly fell into that category as a player, but he's looking like he's definitely going to be a solid pickup for Philadelphia in the offseason, and it brings one more Gonzaga player into the NBA mix. So good to see that. And finally, last but not least, Andrew Nembhard started the majority of the year for Indiana a season ago after being a second-round pick. I mean, I watched most of that game, and 14 points, 8 assists. There's not much more you can say. I don't think he's going to play all of Summer League. My guess would he play one more game, maybe 2. Sometimes – young guys who've already kind of entrenched themselves in an organization don't play the entire summer league. But, what I saw again from Andrew was just a calming presence on the floor, control the game, read the game, make the right decision nearly every time. I just think he's poised to have a 8, 9, 10-year NBA career and a good one at that. So fun to watch him play, fun to see him really kind of dictate the action out on the court there. So there you have it. Update from NBA Summer League in Las Vegas. I'm sure in the next day or two we'll bring you another one because there is lots of action coming up. OKC is off today on Sunday after playing back-to-backs, but Portland plays again today. So maybe look for Malachi Smith. Philly, Indiana, Denver, I believe, all play today as well. So lots of action. We'll bring you all the recaps with Gonzaga Nation SI.